I've been pretty critical of Xbox lately, especially the pricing of Game Pass, and I even went as far as to say a couple of weeks ago that Xbox was dead. But they did something really unexpected. They lowered their prices. So, was I wrong about Xbox? Hey, what's cracking everybody? Welcome back to Computer Games Hardware. So Asher Sharma, who just took over as Microsoft Gaming CEO, said in a leaked memo recently that Game Pass is too damn high.
The rent is too damn high.
So what she actually said, and I'm going to quote her here, is that Game Pass Ultimate has become too expensive for too many players. Starting today, we're dropping the price from $29.99 to $22.99 a month. Future Call of Duty titles will no longer join Game Pass Ultimate on day one. They will join this tier the following holiday after launch, about a year later. Current Call of Duty titles will remain available to Ultimate subscribers. Will keep learning and evolving Game Pass to better match what matters to players. It looks like Xbox is not dead after all. Alright, let's just break it down quickly. So in Australia, Game Pass Ultimate was $35.95 and it has dropped down $10 to $25.95. Not too shabby. Then we've got my tier, which was PC Game Pass, that has also seen a drop. So that was $19.45 and they've dropped it back down to $16.95. So a little less of an increase there, but a more reasonable price. So I'm actually really excited about PC Game Pass, but I want to talk about Ultimate just quickly. $10 price drop, that really starts to make sense, and I think it positions them in a good place to start to re-strategize and re-figure out where Xbox is in the pantheon of like console games. So I think it puts them in good stead with PlayStation and the upcoming Steam Deck. It puts them back into contention for that living room space. And Xbox Game Pass Ultimate dropping $10, that's not insignificant. That's $120 a year. So you're probably saying, Dan, you big bald homie, what's the deal here? What are we losing? And basically, it's just Call of Duty, which for my thinking is a pretty good deal. And here's the thing, you're not even losing Call of Duty altogether. You get it released 12 months after release. So it still comes to Game Pass Ultimate, which is a pretty good deal for me. Hell, I'll even buy Call of Duty if it keeps Game Pass this low. I think they've made a smart move. Now, we all knew that when Game Pass came out that $10 was never gonna last. It was just too unreasonable. But I think they've struck a pretty good balance. Now, the important thing as a gamer going into Game Pass Ultimate, you want to use it. If you're spending $25, which is not insignificant, you want to play at least 5 games a month. You want to try everything. Get the most out of Game Pass. If you're spending if you're only buying 1 or 2 games a year, and you've got Game Pass, you're probably spending the same amount of money. You're probably spending a couple of $100, right? That's what Game Pass works out to be. So, to get the actual value out of it, what you need to do, just like going to the gym or just like anything else, is actually stick to it and get some good gaming in. So Game Pass Ultimate gives you the best value for that. That's why I'm really excited about PC Game Pass. So it's probably got a few less games than Game Pass Ultimate, but you still get day and date games without Call of Duty, of course. But it comes to around, at $17, it comes to around $200. That is a pretty good deal for me. That will keep me buying the games that I want to play on Game Pass off Steam, off the Epic Game Store, and off PlayStation, and waiting for them on Game Pass. I think this is a pretty good strategy for Microsoft at the moment. I think that letting Game Pass languish at this too expensive stage, now people are going to resubscribe, they're going to take up Game Pass again, and what Microsoft are going to do, they're going to showcase their new software. They're gonna tie it in with Project Helix and build up some, momentum and some excitement for the next generation of Xbox consoles. So I'm pretty happy about this. PlayStation haven't really done much with their subscription service. You still get a couple of games every month, which is still good value. Not too long ago, I warned Microsoft that 1945 only left them with about 55 cents to play around with before I bounced out for good. Well, it turned out I bounced out for good anyway. It was just too expensive for me. At $20 a month, I start dipping in, punching out. Right, when a game release comes in the month, I might jump in for it. This will likely let me go. If they leave it at that, I'll leave it as well, and I'll be able to dip in. It's good value for me because I can, create content for games on the channel and stuff like that. So if they are able to maintain this level of pricing, I will be pretty happy. The question is, how long are they going to maintain it for? With Project Helix on the way, with new software that they're developing, with all their handhelds and stuff coming out, there's going to be a point where they might review it. They've put the language, in there that will constantly evolve. So I'm expecting this to be a sweet deal that draws us back in, and then they'll come up with creative ways to bump things up again. But I hope they do with Project Helix. What I think they'll do is, give us the hardware that we can really use Game Pass with and be really happy. If they're able to maintain this level of consistent pricing, this was the best thing for Xbox to do. Hey, get excited about Game Pass again, and remember Project Helix is on the way. Now this gives them a really good development time, and it keeps people in the ecosystem. They should have done this ages ago. I'm not too sure why they wanted to bring Call of Duty into Game Pass anyway, when it's the one thing that people are going to buy no matter what. They have this long-standing deal with PlayStation. I can't remember, but I think it was like 60-something% of players play one single game every year, and that's Call of Duty. So I think it makes sense for this to do them. They're not abandoning it. You're still going to get it. Most players who want to play Call of Duty are going to buy the bloody thing. So, let them buy it. It doesn't need to be day and date on Game Pass, but it means that things that people were otherwise not going to play get their day in the sun, and gamers get good value. Okay, guys, so the question remains, was I wrong about Xbox? I'm going to put my hand up and say I was wrong. I think Asha Sharma has done a really good job of cementing herself as a Phil Spencer-like successor. She's taken a look at it. She's taken on board the criticism. She's looked at value of Game Pass, and they've implemented some changes, and they've promised Project Helix, which is on the way. So I think that a lot of people, including myself, need to suck eggs a little bit, because it looks like the change in direction is actually paying off from Microsoft. So I think this was a pretty good move, because Game Pass Ultimate at $35 is really easy to criticize. So they've gone back, they've made a couple of people like me eat shit and, eat our words, and I'm actually really happy for it. So what do you guys think? Are you bouncing back onto Game Pass on a cheaper subscription tier? Let me know in the comments down below. So I think this is a good idea. They've brought themselves back into the conversation, and I will be uptaking Game Pass as soon as something really fun comes out. I see they put Replace there. I want to check that out. I might dip into Super Meat Boy 3D and stuff like that. So there's already stuff that I want to play that's making it really attractive to click on that subscription again. So really good from Xbox. I'm happy to eat some shit from you guys. So if you want to say it, I'll meet you out there in the comments. You can come on and dump on me. I was wrong. I think Xbox are starting to make some really interesting moves. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I've had a pretty good time making this one. I hope you guys have had a good time watching it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.